Hi friends, in lesson 15 we have talked about decomposing numbers and using subtraction to solve problems. Again, this should be something that we have gone over, but in this one we're going to use place value to understand how the numbers get smaller when we subtract, and then to solve using tape diagrams. So this first part should really just be a review. We're always going to start subtracting by using the right side. So 0 minus 0 is just 0. Now 6 minus 8, we can't do that. So our big number is one on top, right? So do not stop. Big number on the floor, we go next door. We're going to turn that 6 into a 5, and we're going to add 10 more. So that's why we're going to get a 16 over here. So 16 minus 8 is 8. Now I can't take 5 away from 6, so I'm going to have to do the same thing. So I'm going to have to make that 1 into a 0 because we're borrowing from it. And we're going to have to change that 5 into a 15. Now 15 minus 6 is 9. We're going to put a comma there because we're going to keep that in line just with that. Can't take 1 away from 0, but I can't borrow from the 0, so I have to go all over to this one, make that a 0, make this a 10, then a 9, and then turn that 0 into a 10. So 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. 0 minus 0 is nothing. So your answer should be 9,980. Now, if you want to be really good, what you should do is you should go back in and check it. So I should have 91,000. I don't know why this just got wonky. 680 plus 9,980. 0. 16, 11, carry the 1, and I end up with 101,660, which is what I started with. So it does check out. I did solve it correctly. So we're going to go on to the next one. Now, this one we can start off 0 minus 0 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0. But here is where we have the bigger number on the bottom. And so we're going to have to, again, go all the way over to this one, make it a 0, and give it to this number. And what I kind of imagine is like you have to just keep giving to your neighbor until you can finally go. So just because this is a 10 and I could take 5 away from 10 now, I still have to go over and make sure that this little buddy still gets his amount that he needs. So we're going to turn that 10 into a 9, turn this into a 10. Now I can finally borrow from that 10. So that 10 turns into a 9 and the 0 turns into a 10. Now we have our commas first because we just are going straight down. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 9 is 0. 9 minus 5 is 4. Pretty self-explanatory. Again, you could go back in and add and double check that to make sure it is correct. And on this last part, I'm going to show you one tape diagram to solve the problem, and then we will check our answers to make sure it's correct because that's what the instructions say to do. So the very first thing that we are going to do is read it. David is flying from Hong Kong to Buenos Aires. The total flight distance is 11,472. If the plane has 7,793 miles left to travel, how far has it already traveled? And from here, we know that the entire distance is going to be this little square. So the entire distance is 11,472 miles. Now, we know that the plane's already traveled 7,793 miles. The plane still has a portion left to go, and that's what we're going to try and find out. So what we are going to do is we're just going to subtract. So we know the total is 11,472, so we're going to have to take 11,472. We're going to subtract 7,793 from it. I can't take 3 away from 2 because it's on the bigger number's on the bottom, so that 7 turns into a 6, and that 2 turns into a 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. Again, I can't take 9 away from 6, so I have to go over and borrow from that 4. That 4 turns into a 3, and that 6 turns into a 16. 16 minus 9 is 7. I can't take 7 away from that 3. So again, I got to go over that 0, or that 1 turns into a 0, that 3 turns into a 13. 13 minus 7 is 6. I can't take 7 away from nothing, so I have to turn this one into a 0, and this turns into a 10. So 10 minus 7 is 3. So the answer that I got is 3,679 miles, which I think is this portion. Now, I should be able to check my answer and solve it by adding these two, and it should get to 11,472. So I'm going to try that. So 7,793 plus 3,679. 3 plus 9 is 12. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 7 is 17. 7 plus 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 11,472. That was my original total, so I know that it checks out. You also really should be writing the answer that you got, because there's all this work over here, and as a teacher I might not know if that was your answer or if one of these random things were your answer. So you need to write, I hate when it does that, sorry. The plane has traveled 3,679 miles. That way, us teachers know what your actual answer is, and that way we know that you're understanding what math you're solving. Thanks, guys. The very last thing I want you to do is, your assignment is 1B, 1F, 1G, and then 3 and 4, both of which are word problems. But just because they're wordy doesn't mean that you can't solve them. So read through them, make sure you're checking your answers, and also make sure you're drawing out those tape diagrams. Otherwise, I know personally I will not accept your work until it is finished. All right, guys, good luck.